Exodus chapter 22, verse 25. If you lend money to any of my people with you who is poor, you shall not be like a money lender to him, and you shall not exact interest from him. Okay, so another group of people that's vulnerable, the poor. And Sandra already spoke about beggars. But firstly, the focus is here on people with them. So it's amongst them, their people. So their people who are poor, then you ought not to be like a money lender to him. So they had money lenders. Okay, it's not a question of that you're not allowed to have money lenders. Right? They had money lenders. The prohibition here is not against money lending or money lenders. This is about how you treat your own people, your own poor people. Okay, so this is not for communism against capitalism or anything like that. Or this is not just for capitalism or just for communism or anything like that. Right? This is about, again, the social structure in their society when they are going to have poor people. They are going to have poor people. They're going to have farmers when the hail comes, destroys all the crops, they lose everything, they're going to be poor. Trust me, I know, right? Because my family were farmers. I know how it works. And then you need to lend money from the bank and borrow money from the bank. And ultimately, well, it never works out very well because you just get in a debt pit till you loses everything. So the distinction here is between people and their own. So it's not about people outside who comes in and wants to lend money. This is about their own people. And this is about them then being like money lenders to them. And what would money lenders do? Money lenders would give, like they do today. They give you money. If the bank asks you 10% interest, and depending on certain countries, and countries you get even worse than that, then the money lender will come and ask you 20% interest. Now, yes, I know his risk is bigger and all of those kinds of things, but still, way over there, because you can't get the person going to a money lender are the kind of people who can't get a loan from a bank because they're not loan worthy or they, or the job or whatever. So basically, they do make money and they can pay you back. But so the money lender gives to you at a huge interest rate, a lot higher than the bank. And so you are really caught in a debt trap. You nearly need to pay. Some people give half of their salaries or even more away, and then sometimes they lose a job and then they can't. And then all the movies you see, the money lenders come and they shake you up or they take all your stuff away. Take you. Well, I mean, there's so many things that can happen. So you're not supposed to be like that. Okay, so. To your own people, when they're in a need, what you're supposed to do, you need to not exact any interest from them. So you give them money. And I've always kind of felt that, I mean, like in the church, I know Muslim societies actually they do this, where the banks will give no interest loans because of this ultimately, Messiah Bank. Yes, I was at times in my life I thought, as Christians, we need to create a bank where if other Christians are in need of money, then you determine this guy and give them a loan at no interest so that you can help another brother or sister out of their trouble so they can find their own feet and they can be productive members of society as well. Okay, this in a way is what is going on here. You don't want to just force them into a debt trap where they can't then do anything. Remember, giving money, because we've seen already in previous in chapters on if you are poor and you can't take care of yourself, you can sell yourself as a servant, not a slave, for a 6-year period to someone who gives you food, who gives you a housing, and who gives you a salary or pay so that your debts are paid off. So these things can happen, right? You need to remember that in context. But in that case, with these people, there's not supposed to be any interest in taken from these people when they owe, or they're not sold themselves as slaves yet, or so if they can like borrow money, a small amount or X amount, so as to not fall into not being that they can get themselves before selling themselves out as servants, then if you're going to like give them then that money, and but then remember they're not now sold to you as a servant, they will give you the money back. But if you're going to extract that much interest from them, then ultimately they're going to need to sell themselves as a slave or a servant to someone else so they can give you the money back. And then you're just making it worse. You're stomping on someone who's already in a very bad situation. Okay, so this is for their culture, in their nation building, what is ultimately meant here. Therefore, don't exact interest from him. So you don't push them down and you force him into a life of slavery, but that he can work, he can pay you back, and he can work himself and be an active member of society. Verse 26, if ever you take your neighbor's cloak in pledge, you shall return it to him before the sun goes down. For that is his only covering, and is his cloak for his body. In what else shall he sleep? And if he cries to me, I'll hear him, for I am compassionate. So, taking of a neighbor's cloak in as a pledge. Now, this is not taking a person's car as a pledge, and the only way he can get in a home this evening is if you give him his car back. So you give you a car, and he comes and parks it, and then he doesn't need to pay for parking. He's parked at your house, and in the evening he comes, I need the car. There's no other way I can get home, so give me my car back so I can go. And oh yeah, there's that verse in the Bible, right? This is not my cloak, this is not my car, because I need it. I'm a taxi driver, I need it, so he give it back kind of idea, right? This is different, and but for a poor person, the cloak, it might seem like nothing, but this is what he needs to keep, not to not be able to go back to work, because he doesn't need so much the cloak to go to work, but this is what he needs to sleep in at night, so that he's warm, so that he doesn't die of the cold. So if you don't give it back to him, he is going to die of the cold. Right? That is this what this cloak is ultimately about. Okay, so this is not about, again, cars and stuff like that, because not having your car is, you can still take the bus home. You're not going to die. But not having your cloak, when it's the only thing you have that keeps you warm, you need it. Otherwise you die. And that is the point that is made here. Okay. I always think like the longi that they use in Myanmar, very practical, I think, kind of. I think to the Western eye it looks strange, but I think it's very practical, because firstly you gain weight, you just tie it looser. You lose weight, you just tie it narrower. You can use it after taking a bath, wash it, drying yourself. You can use it to sleep in, curl yourself up in it, kind of idea. It's a very, very practical thing, and a lot cheaper than clothes. And every time you wash yourself, you just wash it in it, and so the thing is washed as well. So very practical. This is sort of something most likely that they had here as well in mind. Something that is not just a cloak, but that they could wear, but as well something that is for a covering. And you need it. You can't keep it overnight, because you need it so that the person needs his cloak, so that ultimately he won't die of the cold at night. Remember, dry as it gets cold at night. Okay, hot a day, cold at night. So if you're going to keep it, remember, God is a compassionate God, as is stated here. He's going to hear the cry of this person, and watch out, right? Watch out that you don't get your cloaks taken away from you, all your money, all your, right? Rich people think they have everything. They can always stomp on poorer people. Watch out, God is a compassionate God. You might just lose it all in a stock bust or something, especially now with AI stocks so high. If that bubble bursts, lots of people are going to lose all their savings.